Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal, and this is your latest transfer news. We are starting to hear some concrete updates. It seems like something is going to happen this week. We're going to get a breakthrough to something. This could be deal week. So Fabrizio has given us an update on GYOKERES. We also have an update on Nico Williams and also a defender potentially leaving Arsenal. Well, let's start with GYOKERES. Those are the names that are currently going around. GYOKERES, Osimhen. I have a feeling, I'm hoping at least one of them ends up joining us. I don't really mind who actually joins. I have a preference, but whoever comes to us, I think it's going to be an improvement anyway. But let's start with GYOKERES. An update from Fabrizio. If Arsenal decide to buy a striker, which I think we will, VIKTOR GYOKERES is a concrete possibility. Arsenal reached out to know the conditions of the deal a few months ago. So Fabrizio has confirmed that GYOKERES is definitely a possibility. We had from reports from Portugal that Arsenal have already discussed personal terms with GYOKERES, and GYOKERES is already happy to join Arsenal and come to the Premier League. Now it's all about Arsenal and Sporting agreeing a fee. This is the news that came out yesterday. Jorge Mendes is acting as the intermediary to bring VIKTOR GYOKERES to Arsenal. The deal, according to sources, is close to being completed after negotiations advanced rapidly in recent days. It is expected that there will be news by the end of the month. So the end of the month is not that far. That's across this week up until Sunday. I think by Monday, I think the month goes to 31st. So yeah, at least a week. So probably this week, we are definitely going to hear something. Now, we haven't been linked to a lot of players. I've had people saying you've been into too many players. No, 20 years ago, 10 years, not 20 years ago, 10 years ago, we were being linked to like 60, 70 players. Nowadays, it's like the same 5, 6 names that you hear about, and you end up getting like one or two. Last transfer window, it was Havertz, it was, Rice, and then a couple of others. We ended up getting Havertz and Rice and Ray at the end of the transfer window, although that came as a surprise. We usually hear about the same names, and then we end up getting them. Same with like the likes of Jesus. So out of all these players we've been linked to, I'd not be surprised if at least a couple of them ended up at us. There may be a couple of surprises that you aren't linked to. There's no chance that you would sign 4 players that we haven't had any links at all about. There's always going to be leaks here and there in terms of transfer news. So the news from Sporting and from Portugal is confirming that Arsenal are close to signing GYOKERES, and Fabrizio has confirmed that he's definitely a concrete option. So the earlier video, we talked about Osimhen. Make sure to check that one out if you haven't yet. Napoli are decreasing their price for Osimhen. Maybe they've heard that Arsenal are now getting GYOKERES, and they've decided, you know what, Arsenal are going for another player, and they are the only option we have in terms of buying Osimhen. Let's try and reduce that price. Maybe they've had something, all those teams and the teams themselves usually hear things maybe before us. Maybe Arsenal called Napoli and told them, listen, now we are now going for GYOKERES. We are now not going to go for Osimhen because the price is too high. And then maybe Napoli have called back and they've been like, okay, before you sign GYOKERES, you're reducing the price for Osimhen. Let's do this and that. But between the two players, I think both of them will add goals to the team. I mean, we've already talked about GYOKERES a lot in terms of his numbers. Last season, the previous 4 seasons, incredible numbers. If we start from the bottom, the first season, 5 goals, one assist in 34 games hours for Coventry. But then when I think he was signed permanently, he scored 18 goals and 5 assists in 47 games, 22 goals and 12 assists in 50 games. And last season in total, he got 40. His numbers were so high that it even confuses me. I think it's something like 45 goals and 13 assists, a total of 58 goal contributions. That is very high. And we know Osimhen himself can also score goals and all that. So I think it's up to Arsenal to decide. I don't mind being linked to 3-4 options. You have to be linked to 2-3 options. In case one doesn't work out, you need other options. So you can't just be linked to one player and just focus on one player. I think that is bad advice from the fans who are saying just focus on one player. No, you can't just focus on one player, because if it doesn't work out, and then what is your backup option? So you have to go for a couple, and then the other team knows that, okay, you have a different option. If they don't reduce their price, you're going to go for a different option. That has to be the scenario that you set as well. You also don't get bullied in the market. Bully the other teams in the transfer market. Make them know that you're in charge. You can move on anytime, and you can go for the other player. So GYOKERES would cost around £85 million, and Osimhen now, since his price has dropped, almost around the same. So who would you go for between the two? Not yet bit far from their prime, a couple of years away from their prime. They've been scoring goals. One has been scoring goals in Italy. He's also played in France before and scored goals. He's played in Germany before. GYOKERES has played in the Championship before in England. He's scored goals at Sporting before. Both international players playing for Sweden and Nigeria. Injury-wise, Osimhen is kind of, picked up a few injuries here and there, but Gyökeres has just undergone a knee surgery. So both of them, I'd say, a bit of operations here and there. Who would you pick? And then in terms of age, almost the same. In terms of goals, who do you think would adapt more to our style? Who do you think would score small goals? I think both of them would, but if it was up to the two of players, if it was up to you to pick between the two players, same price, who would you go for? Gyökeres and Osimhen. The only thing about Osimhen is the attitude that we've talked about. That could be a major factor if I'd say they do feel that, this guy's attitude is not great. Let's go for Gyökeres instead. And it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting. I hope we get at least one of them, because for me, I don't see why you should get like a 10 million striker, just a 10 million striker. If that's the case, I want us to improve the team. The only way you can improve the team is by getting, this like strikers who've done it. And to get a striker who's done it for a couple of seasons, you're going to have to pay the premium. There's no striker. You can't get a 20 million striker who's going to come and bang in for you 40 goals in this market. It's very, very difficult. Gyökeres is one of those players, and Osimhen is one of those players. Let's see who we'll end up getting. But Fabrizio has confirmed that he's definitely a concrete option. We've heard that Osimhen wants to come to the Premier League, and we've also heard Gyökeres is happy to come to us in the Premier League as well. So none of them is really rejecting it, and none of them is really saying like, nah, I don't really have to move out. The only thing with the two teams, Napoli really have to sell Osimhen. They're trying to get their money, and their new manager doesn't want him. And Gyökeres, I don't think Sporting are like too desperate to sell him. I think they have other players they can sell to get the money. But maybe if the very, very good offer comes in for him, they'll feel like, okay, he's not going to score 58 goal contributions next season. He's not going to get 58 goal contributions. This is the best time to sell him. Let's sell him. So both of those can happen. But that's the latest on Gyökeres. We also have an update on Nico Williams. Let's check it out. This is what they've had to say. Sources with a close understanding of Nico Williams' situation have informed Court Offside that there is a long list of suitors pursuing the player this summer, though Arsenal and Chelsea are the ones advancing for the moment, with Arsenal ready to pass his 58 million release clause. So in case you don't know, because I know people are worried about Chelsea are going through some terrible stuff. They're not willing to pay more than 150,000 a week for a player, and Nico Williams wants more than that, way more than that. And they're trying to get younger players and all that. So if it's between us and Chelsea, I'd be very confident of this one, because Chelsea are not really ready to pay that more than 150,000. They have a wage cap. I don't know how much they're willing to spend in terms of the transfer fee. In terms of the clause, they can potentially pay it. But again, if it's between us two, we can say, listen, we're in the Champions League, Chelsea, we are both in the UCL, but also in the UEFA Champions League, Chelsea in the UEFA Conference League. So which one do you want to pick? And for him to progress his career, the project-wise as well, we have a settled project, we have settled players. Chelsea have a new manager. They're still bringing in a couple of players. We still don't know what to expect from them next season. So in terms of fighting against Chelsea, we are kind of ahead of them right now. It was different when you're trying to get Mudryk. We're in a title race, but people still thought that was lucky first season. Maybe they'll drop off and finish fourth. It was January, but now we've competed for 2 seasons in a row. In the last season, we only finished 2 points behind Man City, went all the way to the final day. Now people know, like, yeah, we are legitimate title contenders, and Nico Williams would know that, and we're ahead of Chelsea, and we are both in London. So there's no other thing that is putting Chelsea ahead of us right now in terms of signing Nico Williams. And the only thing that can happen is another team comes in maybe and he decides to go, like a Barcelona or Madrid. If they want him, he'd potentially choose those ones because they're in Spain, and it's everyone's dream to play for Real Madrid and Barcelona. Then in that situation, he can't really do much. But if it's between us and Chelsea, I'd be very confident of getting him. And imagine getting Nico Williams and one of those strikers that we've talked about. That would be definitely taking us to the next level, man. Absolutely next level. Now, for me, I still want a midfielder as a priority, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend like, oh, you get Gyökeres and Nico Williams. No chance. That will definitely add more goals to your team, more chances created. If we can score 90 plus goals without any of these players, imagine what they would do with adding Nico Williams to that team. You have a better Jesus season, you have a better Martinelli season, and then you have more goals from Odegaard like you did 2 seasons ago, and then you add a Gyökeres or Osimhen in terms of goals as well. you're now talking 100 plus goals in a season consistently. Like that would be crazy. We'd score, if you can score 5, 6 goals without these players, we can add more with them on form. And if one doesn't work out in terms of form, there's another player to come off the bench. You still have Havertz there, you still have Trossard there, you still have Saka there, you still have Rice there. Like there's a lot of going on in the team. So I mean, it's great for me. I'm happy that we got linked to these kind of players. 3-4 years ago, we'd be linked to totally different players. So for us to be in the market for this kind of players, it makes me really happy. So let's hope that one of the deal goes through at least very, very soon. But that's the latest on Nico Williams. Arsenal and Chelsea are the ones advancing at the moment. It would cost 58 million in terms of euros, around 40 something million in terms of pounds. The money just confuses me because I usually see pounds and euros in terms of Osimhen, GYOKERES, Nico Williams. It's just confusing when you start to put them together. We might have to choose one to really, really use. But yeah, Nico Williams in terms of pounds, it's around 45, 46 million pounds, something like that. So this would be an interesting one. Spain are playing tonight, but he's not playing. He's on the bench. They've rested everyone. But we've gotten to see him a couple of times. He's already won man of the match in one of those games. The other game, he looked very good once again. He can play on the left side. He can play on the right side. We've also had discussions of this with Cozy a lot in terms of Nico Williams, so make sure to check those ones out. I'll try and link one of them at least at the end of the video. Lastly, let's talk about Kiwior. There's a chance that Kiwior could end up leaving. Commiserations to him. Poland went out of the Euros. They still have one game to play, but maybe doesn't play that one. So this is the latest on Jakub Kiwior from Gazzetta Italia. Juventus have cooled their interest in Riccardo Calafiori. Jakub Kiwior is now a concrete target for Juventus. So seems like AC Milan and Juventus really, really want Kiwior. Again, for me, I don't think, unless they're paying 40, 45 million or something crazy, I don't want to sell Kiwior because I want our defenders to stay intact so that you can keep on focusing on midfield, winger, and forward players in terms of signings. The moment, let's say we sign Nico Williams and then you're trying to finalize a GYOKERES deal, and then Kiwior and Zinchenko are sold, and then we're trying to also get defenders. Remember, we can't buy 7, 8 players. We have to keep some of them. So you can't just sell Jesus, sell Partey, sell Kiwior, sell Zinchenko, sell Nelson, sell Get. You have to keep a few of them on the bench unless you're going to go and make 10 signings. And next season, we have more games. We want to go further in the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. We want to attain 92, 93 points in the Premier League. We need to have a squad. So you can't really sell all the players. And Jakub Kiwior is one of those players who are really, really good squad players. He's happy to be on the bench. He can come on and play as a left back. He can come on and play as a centre back. Played really well for Poland at centre back. And he's been really good. He's good on the ball. At the second part of the season, he was contributing assists. He was scoring a couple of goals. It seems like he's enjoying himself playing next to Gabriel and maybe playing next to Saliba. I'd like to see that one as well when Gabriel is being rested. I think we need those players. You never know. Tomiyasu, how many games can he play consecutively? Timber's just recovered from a serious injury. Zinchenko, even if he stays, there's some games you don't really want to play him. So you need a squad. If you want to defend Kiwior is a perfect guy to start to throw in 15 minutes to time when you're leading 2-1 and you're trying to defend. Is the perfect guy to just come in and shut the game off completely in any of those positions. The 2 seasons ago when Holding was removed from the team, Kiwior was playing next to Gabriel and Kiwior was playing on the right side of Gabriel. So he can do a lot for you. For me, I wouldn't really sell him. I think he's a very, very good squad player and can even start games. So I wouldn't really sell him. Unless they're coming with like 50 million, then you can consider your options. But for me, Kiwior, I would try and keep him. But Juventus are serious on him, and we've had AC Milan are serious on him. But for me, I think it's a keep. I think it's a keep for me. But let me know, would you guys be tempted, and how much would tempt you in terms of selling Kiwior? How much would you be looking for to sell Kiwior? But that's the latest on GYOKERES, the latest on Nico Williams, and the latest on Kiwior. There is a lot going on at the moment in terms of the latest news. In case you want to check out the podcast we do a daily podcast with Cozy. Only missed a couple of days, but we did a podcast talking about Nico Williams in detail. So click on the video on screen right now. And if you want to have watch the whole podcast, every single episode, you can click on the other video on the screen. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you with you on the next